Okay, here's our next card we're going to do. And I just absolutely love this stamp set. So here's the tools that we're going to need to make this. I've got my fabulous A Happy Heart stamp set. I really, really like this stamp set. I really do. Okay, there's that. We're going to use some markers directly to the stamps. We're going to use chocolate chip, rose red, and old olive. Okay, and we're also going to use our chocolate chip ink pad. Our new straight edge scallop, straight scalloped edge. A word window punch. Of course, our faithful snail and some dimensionals. Okay, so we're going to do some fun, tricky stuff here. Let's get all of our parts here that we're going to need to create this card. Last time we did the crayons directly to the stamp, and this time we're going to do markers directly to the stamp. So in this case, I really like this stamp right here that says wishing you a happy heart, but I wanted to use different colors on it. And so the way you do that is you color it in using the markers. Okay, so I'll turn it over. This is a well-loved stamp. And what I'm going to start with is there's two tips on our markers. There's a pointed edge tip for writing, for fine work, and then there's a brush edge tip like this. And I'm going to use the brushed edge tip. I'm going to come in, and going from the center out, I'm going to color in this beautiful little flower. And all these little hearts that blow away from it. I'm just using the marker on its side and brushing over all the objects and just hitting. Now, there's something I want to show you here. If I can get into a tight shot, I'm going to zoom in down here and I want to show you something. I hope you can see this. Let's keep going a little tighter. I just want you all to notice the height on our rubber stamps that's Stampin' Up. These are quality stamps. I mean, this image, if I can turn it around here, if you can see the letters, how high they're raised off the rubber there. Can you see that? We make really nice high quality stamps so that when you stamp your images, you know, you're not catching the background, you're just catching the image that you wanted to catch. Okay, so there's a little commercial for you. So let's go back out wide here so you can see what I'm doing. Okay, so I'm going to keep going in here, and I want to get all the little top part of the flower, and I just have my marker turned sideways and I just brush over it. Okay, now I want to do the stem, so I'm going to do that in green using the marker tip edge, and I'm just going to I'm going to go up there very gently into the flower, and then I'm going to come down here and just get the stem of this flower. Okay, now I want to get the words, so use the brush tip on the chocolate. And I'm going to come in here, turn my marker sideways, and brush over my words like this. So now I've got three colors on this stamp. They're all coordinating colors. The ink that's in the markers is the same ink that's in the ink pads. And our re-inkers will re-ink it. So now the air's kind of dried out the stamp, and so the way that we do this to be able to moisten up the stamp again before we stamp it is you huff on it with your breath, and the moisture from your breath will re-moisten the stamp and the ink that's on the stamp. Okay, so kind of creepy sound effects, huh? Alright, so I'm going to come in right over my piece of paper, and I'm going to stamp right in the center, and I go down and I just hold it. I don't rock the stamp, just holding it there so the ink can absorb into the paper and lift straight up. And look at that, isn't that fun? So it took my stamp that was just one image and it put three colors on there. It just makes it really nice, puts it together. So I've got a piece of old olive paper here I'm going to mount it to. I flip it over and use my snail. Doesn't take much with this snail. It's a permanent adhesive, so it really doesn't take much. But what I do is once I attach things, stick it down, I like to turn it over and rub it. And that way the heat from the friction of me rubbing the paper really makes that adhesive stick. Okay, there you go. So that's ready. So now we're going to do some tricky stuff over here to be able to dress up the card a little bit. We could put the band right across like this and put it on, and it's a darling card. But I wanted to show you how to use some of our punches. so you can see how that works. Okay? Now this is our textured chocolate cardstock. You can get this. It comes in a family package in the Earth Elements family group. And let's see if I can get this to come in tight. Can you see the texture on that? It's just got a nice linen texture to it, and it just adds another dimension to the front of your card. Okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take our new straight scallop edge punch. That's actually the size of the die right there. It's only this wide. And on the front, it has guides on either side. So if you're going to continue to stamp paper all the way down the side to have a scalloped edge, very similar to what you see on the front of our Stampin' Up! Catalog, you can see that they did the front edge here with a scallop. And so that's achieved by taking this and continuing to punch up a long line. We'll do it from the front so you can see. I push it all the way. There's a fence line along the back here that stops the paper. And I'm doing it just above center, okay? And I'm just going to punch it once. And when I do, the punch comes down and it pokes the paper out the back. Okay, and it leaves me this hole that looks like that. Okay? And then I'm going to slide this paper through. But I want it to be able to not just be in the back, I want it to be able to come back through the card. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this window punch that is not quite as long as what I've just punched up on the other image, but I'm going to go in, straight in. I'm going to push it as far as I can, all the way to the edge. Okay? Eyeing it. I'm going to move in all the way there, and I'm going to punch it once, and then I'm going to punch it again in the same spot. Okay, this is actually going to be hidden behind our card here that we've stamped. And so you don't have to be really exact about this. I think I need it a little bit longer, so I'm going to go back up one more time and just punch a little bit more off of there. I just want to make sure it's long enough so that when I go to stick my textured chocolate cardstock in, it's going to fit in there nicely. Now you won't see any of this, so it's okay that there's excess because it's going to be covered, but we want to be able to have that pass through there. Okay? So now here's the fun part. We got to stick it down. So what we're going to do is I'm going to put some adhesive on here, and I'm going to put some, so I've got the adhesive all across there. So now I'm just going to go, I'm going to weave the cardstock through there like this. Get it flush with this edge over here, okay? And then just stick it down. Now this is going to be sitting on here just like this. So we have this fancy adhesive remover that looks like this. It's like the crepe sole of a shoe. It's what it feels like. And if you just roll it across here, it will lift up adhesive that you put down in places where you don't want it. Okay? So you just keep rubbing it, and it'll lift right up just like rubber cement. Can you see that coming up? Can you see that? So don't worry if you ever get too much adhesive on. This adhesive remover will just take it right off. I've used it often. I wanted you to know that there is just really no mistake that you can make stamping that really cannot be fixed somehow. So don't be intimidated to get out stamps and to try these techniques and do new things, because there's always a way. And sometimes having to clean up from a mistake, you actually come up with really creative ways to repair it. And you can come up with some pretty cool new techniques, you know. So what do they say? The necessity is the mother of invention. Okay, I've finished getting the adhesive off, and you can see, no worse for the wear. It's no problem. And that was quite a bit of adhesive, and it lifted it up just fine. Okay, so now I'm going to put some dimensionals on the back of our little card here. And you can remember that my dimensionals were getting low. Okay, but you know what? I'm still going to cut up those edges and use them because they're still going to work. So we're going to just take it around here, and I'm going to get these big pieces off of here, like this. And that gives me a few extra, okay? And I'm just going to take these guys and stick them right down on the corners. There you go. No sense in wasting it. You can still get several pieces out of there, so use it all up. And I can use the little sides for smaller little things that I want to pop up. Okay? And then I'm just going to put this down. It's going to cover right over our little window punch hole that we made. Okay, and I just press it down to stick it. There you go. Isn't that fun? So it's a really simple little card. It's cute. It's got several colors in there, and I was able to demonstrate to you several different techniques that you can use. So there's card number 2.